Alright, here we are. Got another, we're gonna mulligan the first one. This one's fine. I think we should top that, to be honest. Oh wait, it doesn't matter because we have search. So this matchup is another matchup against Grixis. If I can remember correctly, this is just straight Grixis. This is not Grixis Shadow. This is more like Grixis Control. I do remember Creeping Tar Pits and things like that, so this is just Grixis Control. In fact, I think he has like Ancestral Visions and things like that, so... Right now we're kind of, you know, in the real world, kind of in the dark about which version of the deck he is. So important to note, he bought them both. Kind of annoying, but we do have another search for tomorrow, so we're fine. Like, our hand is as weak as it is. We get to play a land on turn 1 and 2. We have another land coming in play. If we draw a land, we can cast both Secure Tribeholders, as I just motioned. So I think that we're actually well set up to win this game here, especially against Grixis, which is another deck that I really like our matchup in. So we draw a Through the Breach, which is actually okay. We're going to be able to cast Through the Breach potentially next turn. You know, of course, sacrificing Secure Tribeholder, Search for Tomorrow, Resolving, puts us at 5. Our opponent does have a lot of interaction playing Grixis, though. And right now he's on blue-black land, and all he's done is cast Serum Visions. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things like, what is our opponent up to? At this point, I think it would be very clear to you that it was just Grixis Control, and not, like, Grixis Shadow, just because he's not done anything. So him playing that like that kind of gives me pause, because, like, what does he need 3 mana for as opposed to 2? So it should give me pause here. I still think I want to do this because then this is one of those moments where I think you could have just not sacrificed the Secure Tribeholder, but you want to sacrifice it because you want to be able to hold up Through the Breach at the end of his turn, if nothing else, and force him to deal with it on his turn. Because Through the Breach does allow it at the end step to stay into play and still attack on your turn. So he's upkeeping. I thought that he had a V-Click, which he was just going to get badly blown out by, because I'm just going to respond him Through the Breach and then just kill him. So I don't draw land, can't even just cast my Primeval Titan. Not that I would. But I think the Summoner's Pact is very good for us, just because it gives us different avenues for attacking. We have multiple Titans. So if we like Through the Breach, and that resolves and the Primeval Titan's in play, then I can just cast Primeval Titan next turn. He has Cryptic mana up, so this is kind of annoying. I think he does Cryptic and bounce my Valakut, but that's actually kind of, like, bad for me, but it is what it is. You know, it just sets me back a whole turn. So he does a Cryptic command, he is bouncing my Valakut, but it's, I mean, in the grand scheme, unless I draw a land like that, I couldn't have cast Primeval Titan anyways. So this cast Secure Tribeholder set up. Valakut being in play is very good against him, being Grixis Control. He doesn't have any way to interact with it, really. So the blue-white control decks sometimes play Spreading Seas. The blue-black based control decks don't often play Spreading Seas. So, and I don't think there's very many Fulminator mages running around in main decks, although there are some. So, regardless of that, we would be set up to cast Primeval Titan next turn anyways. And him playing a Tasker doesn't really affect me at all. In fact, I should not be sacrificing my Secure Tribeholder. I have 6 mana regardless, so that gives me a chump blocker. I just get to cast my Primeval Titan right here, and the next turn have a potentially a second Primeval Titan. And so potentially here, what I could do is I could go get Valakut, and set up with the Stomping Ground and the Secure Tribe Elder and the Summoner's Pact in my hand. Or I could just go ahead and go get Mountain, kill the Tasker. Him doing it like this, it's kind of awkward. It means I can go get Valakut, though. I can go get Valakut Mountain and still deal 6, and then potentially deal more next turn because I have 2 Valakuts in play already. But it's fine. And I think this Fatal Push was fine by him. Fatal Push is a pretty poor card against me. If the best your card can do is just kill a Secure Tribe Elder or Obfuscate Baloth, it's not really good enough. And I do think that I should be killing Tasker here. I can kill my opponent. Killing my opponent is not an issue now. We have 6 damage on our hand and a Stomping Ground. We can just go get a Secure Tribe Elder. We're not hurting for damage. So just killing the Tasker, making sure that he can't do anything degenerate with it somehow. Or just kill our Primeval Titan and then attack us, if I remember correctly, our opponent actually fires up a Creeping Tar Pit here and just kind of dies. No, terminate. Maybe he plays land, fires up Tar Pit. I swear that I remember him firing. In one of these games that we play, he fires up Tar Pit in a position where I'm just like, oh, well, that's cool, I guess. Unfortunate that he didn't fire up Tar Pit. Just plays another Tasker. And this is fine for us. In fact, he's just dead, right? We cast Primeval Titan, go get Mountain, deal. Oh, yep, dead. Oh, no, he wasn't just dead, sorry. Yeah, that was 12. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was just dead. He was just dead before the 3 breach. I should not have shown him the 3 breach. But, that's fine. Max B in here. That's what you get for watching Hearthstone. Ooh, look at all those triggers. You're dead. Obviously, board in Summoning Trap, Obstinate Baloth. Board out those. I need to board out 1 more Lightning Bolt. All these cards are good. We have a good matchup in this matchup, though. We have a really good matchup. But we don't want to count our chickens before they hatch. I think this is a good matchup. We have a lot of positive ways to interact, but that doesn't mean we don't just mulligan to Oblivion or something. We just have so many favorable interactions, and even though you do have Fulminator Mage post-war, it just doesn't matter. We have so many ways to play around Fulminator Mage. If you lose to Fulminator Mage with this deck, to me it kind of feels like you didn't try hard enough to play around it. Obviously, if you just have non-basics in your hand and no basics, that's one thing. But if you have fetch lands, you can just search up basics. There are a few situations where you kind of get tied up on mana because you don't have the right color sources. For example, not having enough mana to Farseek or whatever and Cascape Shift. If you just have a bunch of red sources and you can't do both, it can be kind of awkward. But what's the cost there? Okay, so I couldn't win the game this turn, but what if I had just gotten a non-basic and just never gotten to this point because he had Fulminator Mage? Or even worse, he had Fulminator Mage and he got to Surgical Extract my thing. So it's you pay a cost. You pay a cost by playing basics, and Fulminator Mage represents that. So you can play around it. It's so easy to play around, and there's just no reason not to. So this hand's great. We do have the turn 3 possibility, although we kind of need some help with our lands because Cinderglade is going to come into play tapped as it is. Because we can't fetch a basic forest. We can only fetch a non-basic forest. So, no matter what, as things stand, Cinderblade is coming into play untapped, or tapped. But our opponent just didn't play anything on turn 1. So some people are playing worse than I am. Now, spoiler alert, he actually has plays, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. I think he just accidentally F6. See, it says turn 2 down there. It is his turn 2. He did just play a land. So that was kind of our best possible here, because now we can search up a basic and have Cinderglades come into play untapped because of Search for Tomorrow. So we get to search up a basic, and this kind of turns us on for everything. Now we just need to draw a Primeval Titan or an Emrakul, and we're just going to win the game. Spirit Tribe Elder resolves. Our opponent searches up. We're just thinking he's going to Thought Scour here. Could be Fatal Pushing, although I would imagine that his Fatal Pushes should not be in the deck anymore. So Thought Scour reveals a Fulminator Mage, a Tar Pit. Thank goodness the Fulminator Mage is in the graveyard. Also, thank goodness that our opponent just didn't do anything turn 1. I mean, you take wins how you can get them. You know, I don't think there's shame in losing. Sorrow might be the word I'm looking for. You know, I mean, I do feel bad that he just didn't take his first turn, but at the same time, we're trying to win. When you're playing a game, the goal is you sit down and you're trying to win. That's the goal of the game. So if I feel bad about winning, what am I? There's nothing wrong with wanting to win. So if my opponent makes a mistake, that's fine. I should not feel bad for wanting to win, and I don't. I don't feel bad for wanting to win. So Thought Scours me on upkeep. Doesn't get a Primeval Titan. That really signals to me that he is looking for Primeval Titan to surgically extract. But yes. Also, oh yeah. I thought it was passing turn. I was like, why did I not play a land and play Baloth? Should definitely be playing Baloth. I'm tapping my non-basics there because if it gets Fulminator Mage, at least I still have. I mean, I could still play Bolt, but this way I have Bolt up regardless. I don't have to tap the mana and use it right then. So if you cast Fulminator Mage, I don't have to float the mana and worry about it. I can just have the Bolt up for the end of the turn for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't think that there's any reason to feel bad about winning. That's the objective. What do you play a game? You know, it is fun, but you know, there are rules to the game. There are win conditions. So if you ask Richard Garfield what the objective of the game is, the objective of the game is to win, to reduce your opponent from 20 health to 0, to deal 10 infect, poison, or to deck your opponent. Those are the win conditions. Those are the objectives. Of course, the overall spectrum of the game, you want to have fun. You know, the game is supposed to be fun, but winning is not some toxic thing. You know, I want to win. So I mean, unfortunately, my opponent did something very weird in a digital program that would never happen in real life. But you know, it is what it is. I'll take a win however I can get it. Because winning is not easy. So when you get an easy win, you should in fact be overjoyed. So before I tapped non-basics, I think here is fine because no matter what, I'm whatever. I'm going to have a red up for my Bolt regardless because he can't cast double Fulminator Mage. So, and they are two different ones. So there's no real possibility that he can punish me here. We still have Through the Breach up. We still have a land. So if we draw a Valakut, so Kulligan's Command, making me discard. He's returning a Fulminator Mage. These are fine. I should just be discarding this Wooded Foothills. I mean, it's unfortunate that I played the Obstinate Baloth because then he did that, but my Obstinate Baloths right now represent lethal. So, realistically, it's fine. And if, as you've seen there, I kind of hover over the through the breach. If I really like try to think, there is some logic to discarding that through the breach, but I think my through the breach logic was, if I actually had logic, was now he might snipe off my Primeval Titan. If he does that, he's probably just dead. Probably just dead. He could cast Tasker, Gurmag Angler, one of those things, but our opponent's not in a good position here. Getting at 8 life. And now I can just cast this Fulminator Mage. He also has 7 cards in hand still, so that's something important to note. Here's the Fulminator Mage. And there's the Surgical. Why he didn't wait until my upkeep is, I don't know. It's fine. Now, another important to note, if I draw any creature here, any creature in my deck, my opponent is dead. I can through the breach in, through the breach in, Sakura Tribeholder, attack, Lightning Bolt. So that's 5 damage, and then Lightning Bolt. Instead, I just draw another through the breach. Dun dun dun. But this is still fine. I have him on a 2-turn clock here. And my creatures are not dying, so a card like Tasker doesn't do enough. If he fetches, he's just dead. No, he knows he's just dead because he's seen the bolt, but yeah, we just have our opponent dead 8 ways from Sunday. And I don't mind bolting here. The reason I say I don't mind bolting there is because it leaves up the 5 mana. And it is what it is. Just get that bolt out of there so he can't fetch or something. Now he's at 1 life and he literally is just hamstrung. He could potentially cast like 2 Taskers, probably 12, 11 cards. Yeah, you can cast Tasker and Gurmag Angler. 6, yeah. But if he doesn't do that, he's just dead. You can also have like Snapcaster, nothing, just an out. He does have Snapcaster here, but obviously it doesn't matter. There's nothing good enough in his graveyard for him to target. So it's hard to tell if I would have won this game if my opponent hadn't just passed his first turn. Oh, okay, yeah. So he could have Bolt in his hand, Snapcaster Bolt, and not be dead. But unfortunately, our opponent makes another mistake. And he tapped his red. No, he's got a Thought Scout. I think our opponent was probably just like pretty upset that he like somehow F6'd his first turn. But it is what it is. Once again, I cannot help this. These are not things I can help. I can only control what I do, and I should not be upset if my opponent does something silly. So right now we're 3-1. Beat 2 Grixis decks. Lost to Jund, Death Shadow. One of the Grixis decks was Death Shadow, and also beat Merfolk. So let's go to round 5.